Last night I had the strangest dream I'd ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. I dreamed I saw a mighty room, and the room was filled with men. And the paper they were signing said they'd never fight again. And when the paper was all signed and 1,000,000 copies made, they all joined hands and bowed their heads as grateful prayers were prayed. And the people in the streets below were dancing round and round, while swords and guns and uniforms were scattered on the ground. Last night I had the strangest dream I'd ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. Oh, Mrs. McGraw, the sergeant said, would you like to make a soldier out of your son Ted, with a scarlet coat and a big cocked hat? Now, Mrs. McGraw, wouldn't you like that? Will you turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah, will you turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah. So Mrs. McGraw lived on the seashore for the space of 7 long years or more, till she saw a ship sailing into the bay. As my son Ted wished to clear the way with the turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah, with the turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah. Oh, Captain dear, where have you been? Have you been sailing on the Mediterranean? Or have you any tidings of my son Ted? Is the poor boy living, or is he dead? Will you turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah, will you turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah. Then up comes Ted without any legs, and in their place he has 2 wooden pegs. She kissed him a dozen times or 2, crying, holy Moses, 'tis in you, will you turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah, will you turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah. Oh, were ye drunk or were ye blind that you left your 2 fine legs behind? Or was it walking upon the sea, wore your 2 fine legs from the knees away? With the turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah, with the turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah. Oh, I wasn't drunk and I wasn't blind, but I left my 2 fine legs behind. For a cannonball on the 5th of May took my 2 fine legs from the knees away. With the turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah, with the turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah. Oh, tell me, boy, the widow cried, your 2 fine legs were your mammy's pride. Them stumps of a tree wouldn't do at all. Why didn't you run from the cannonball? With your turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah, with your turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah. All foreign wars I do proclaim between Don John and the King of Spain, and by hands I'll make them rue the times that they swept the lakes from a child of mine. With your turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah, with your turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah. Oh, then if I had ye back again, I'd never let you go to fight the King of Spain. For I'd rather my Ted as he used to be than the King of France and his whole navy. With your turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah, with your turrah-yah, father did-a-lah, turrah, turrah, turrah-yah. Spanish is the loving tongue, soft as music, light as spray. 'Twas a girl I learned it from, living down Sonora way. I don't look much like a lover, Yet I say her love words over often when I'm all alone. Mi amor, mi corazón. Moonlight on the patio, old Sonora nodding near, me and Juana talking low, so the madre couldn't hear. How those hours would go a-flying, and too soon I'd hear her sighing in her little sorry tone. Mi amor, mi corazón. Never seen her since that night. I can't cross the line, you know. Wanted for a gambling fight, like as not it's better so. Still I often sort of miss her, since that last sad night I kissed her, left her heart and lost my own. Adios, mi corazón. As I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I spied a young cowboy wrapped up in white linen, wrapped up in white linen as cold as the clay. I see by your outfit that you are a cowboy, these words he did say as I boldly stepped by. Come sit down beside me and hear my sad story. I was shot in the breast and I know I must die. It was once in the saddle I used to go dashing, once in the saddle I used to go gay. First down to Rosie's and then to the card house. Got shot in the breast and I'm dying today. Get 6 jolly cowboys to carry my coffin, get 6 pretty maidens to carry my paw. Put bunches of roses all over my coffin, roses to dead in the closets they fall. Oh, beat the drum slowly and play the fife lowly, play the dead march as you carry me along. Take me to the valley and lay the sod o'er me, for I'm a young cowboy and I know I've done wrong. Go gather around you a crowd of young cowboys and tell them the story of this my sad fate. Tell one the other before they go further to stop their wild roving before it's too late. Go fetch me a cup of cold water to cool my parched lips, the cowboy then said. Before I returned, the spirit had left him and gone to its maker, the cowboy was dead. We beat the drum slowly and played the fife lowly, and bitterly wept as we drove him along. For we all loved our comrade, so brave, young and handsome. We all loved our comrade, although he'd done wrong. Well, come along, boys, and listen to my tale. I tell you all my troubles on the old Chisholm Trail. Come and tie, yippee, yippee, yay, yippee, yay. Come and tie, yippee, yippee, yay. $2 horse and a $40 saddle, and I'm going to punch in Texas cattle. Come and tie, yippee, yippee, yay, yippee, yay. Come and tie, yippee, yippee, yay. Woke up one morning on the Chisholm Trail with a horse between my legs and a car by the tail. Come and tie, yippee, yippee, yay, yippee, yay. Come and tie, yippee, yippee, yay. Oh, it's bacon and beans most every day. I'd as soon be eating prairie hay. Come and tie, yippee, yippee, yay, yippee, yay. Come and tie, yippee, yippee, yay. It's cloudy in the west and it looks like rain, and madame those slickers in the wagon again. Come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay. It's raining like hell and it's getting mighty cold, and them longhorn sons of guns are getting hard to hold. Come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay. I handed up my boss to draw my roll. He figured me out $9 in the hole. Come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay. Going back to town to draw my money, going back to town to see my honey. Come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay. With my knees in the saddle and my seat in the sky, I'll quit punching cows in the sweet by and by. Come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay, yippee-yay, come and tie-yi, yippee, yippee-yay. As I was a-walking one morning for pleasure, I spied a cowpuncher come riding along. His hat was stood back and his spurs was a-jingling, and as he approached he was singing this song. Whoopie Ti Yi Yo, get along, little dogies, it's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoopie Ti Yi Yo, get along, little dogies, you know that Wyoming will be your new home. It's early in spring that we round up the dogies and mark 'em and brand 'em and lob off their tails. We round up our horses and load the chuck wagon and then throw the dogies out onto the trail. Whoopie Ti Yi Yo, get along, little dogies, it's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoopie Ti Yi Yo, get along, little dogies, you know that Wyoming will be your new home. It's whooping and yelling and driving them dogies, oh how I wish that you would go on. It's a whooping and punching and go on, little dogies, for you know Wyoming is to be your new home. Whoopie Ti Yi Yo, get along, little dogies, it's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoopie Ti Yi Yo, get along, little dogies, you know Wyoming will be your new home. Some cowboys go up the trail just for pleasure, but that's where they get it most awfully wrong. For nobody knows what trouble they give us as we go driving them all along. Whoopie Ti Yi Yo, get along, little dogies, it's your misfortune and none of my own. Whoopie Ti Yi Yo, get along, little dogies, you know that Wyoming will be your new home. Jolly old Roger, the tin maker man, lived in a garret in New Amsterdam. He showered down blessings like rain in the spring. On maidens and matrons of him I would sing. Cha-wang, 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 ter-rattle, 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 ter-bang. There never was yet a boy or a man who better could mend tin kettle or pan, or bucket or dipper or skimmer or can than jolly old Roger, the tin maker man. Cha-wang, 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 ter-rattle, 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 ter-bang. Jolly old Roger had two sets of eyes. His spectacles were uncommon in size. His nose like a strawberry, racy and red. A sniffer by day and a trumpet in bed. Cha-wang, 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 ter-rattle, 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 ter-bang. Now jolly old Roger could not live always, and the nippers of death cut his life short one day. Down in the cold ground they trampled him in. For jolly old Roger, the mender of tin. Cha-wang, 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 ter-rattle, 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 ter-bang. If down to New Amsterdam's churchyard you go, be sure to drop in, it's a great place for woe. You'll find by the churchyard the church in the mall, where jolly old Roger lies under the wall. Cha-wang, 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 ter-rattle, 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 ter-bang. As I was going to Ballynure the day I well remember, for to view the lads and lasses on the 5th day of November, with a meringue-a-doo-a-day, with a meringue-a-doo-a-daddy-o. As I was going along the road when homeward I was walking, I heard a wee lad behind a ditch to his wee lass was talking, with a meringue-a-doo-a-day, with a meringue-a-doo-a-daddy-o. Said the wee lass, it's will you let me kiss ye, for I have got the cordial eye that far exceeds the whiskey, with a meringue-a-doo-a-day, with a meringue-a-doo-a-daddy-o. This cordial that you talk about, there's very few of them gets it, for there's nothing now but crooked combs and muslin gowns can catch it, with a meringue-a-doo-a-day, with a meringue-a-doo-a-daddy-o. As I was going to Ballynure the day I well remember, for to view the lads and lasses on the 5th day of November, with a meringue-a-doo-a-day, with a meringue-a-doo-a-daddy-o. You and me know that old hollow tree where you lay down $1 or $2. If you hush up your mug, they will slip you a jug of that good old Mountain Dew. They call it that good old Mountain Dew, and them that refuse it are few. You may go round the bend, but you'll come back again for that good old Mountain Dew. The preacher come by with a tear in his eye. He said that his wife had the flu. We told him he ought to give her a quart of that good old Mountain Dew. They call it that good old Mountain Dew, and them that refuse it are few. You may go round the bend, but you'll come back again for that good old Mountain Dew. Way up on the hill there's an old whiskey still, run by a hard-working crew. You can tell by the whiff, you can tell by the smell, when they're making that good old Mountain Dew. They call it that good old Mountain Dew, and them that refuse it are few. You may go round the bend, but you'll come back again for that good old Mountain Dew. My brother George is not very large, he measures just 4'2". But he thinks he's a giant when they give him a pint of that good old Mountain Dew. They call it that good old Mountain Dew, and them that refuse it are few. You may go round the bend, but you'll come back again for that good old Mountain Dew. My Uncle Bill has a still on the hill where he runs off a gallon or two. The birds in the sky get so drunk they can't fly on that good old Mountain Dew. They call it that good old Mountain Dew, and them that refuse it are few. You may go round the bend, but you'll come back again for that good old Mountain Dew. My Auntie June has a brand new perfume, it has such a sweet smelling pew. Imagine her surprise when she had it analyzed, it was nothing but that good old Mountain Dew. They call it that good old Mountain Dew, and them that refuse it are few. You may go round the bend, but you'll come back again for that good old Mountain Dew. One morning in May, I spied a young couple all on the highway. The one was a lady so fair, and the other was a soldier, a brave volunteer. They had not been walking but a moment or two, when out of his knapsack his fiddle he drew. He played her a tune 'cause the valley to ring, set the waters a-gliding, made the nightingale sing. Pretty soldier, will you marry me? Oh no, pretty lady, that never could be. I've a wife in old London and children have 3. 2 wives in the army's too many for me. I'll go back to London and I'll stay there 1 year. And it's often I'll think of you, my little dear. And when I return it will be in the spring, to set the waters a-gliding, make the nightingale sing. As I went down to the river, poor boy, to see the ships go by, my sweetheart stood on the deck of one and she waved to me goodbye. Bow down your head and cry, poor boy, bow down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love, bow down your head and cry. I followed her for months and months, she offered me her hand. We were just about to be married when she ran off with a gambling man. Bow down your head and cry, poor boy, bow down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love, bow down your head and cry. He came at me with a big jackknife, I went for him with lead. And when the fight was over, poor boy, he lay down beside me dead. Bow down your head and cry, poor boy, bow down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love, bow down your head and cry. They took me to the big jailhouse, the months and months rolled by. The jury found me guilty, poor boy, and the judge said you must die. Bow down your head and cry, poor boy, bow down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love, bow down your head and cry. Oh, do you bring me silver, poor boy, or do you bring me gold? I bring you neither, said the man, I bring you a hangman's fold. Bow down your head and cry, poor boy, bow down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love, bow down your head and cry. Oh, do you bring me pardon, poor boy, for to turn me loose? I bring you nothing, said the man, except a hangman's noose. Bow down your head and cry, poor boy, bow down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love, bow down your head and cry. And yet they called that justice, poor boy, then justice let it be. I only killed a man that was a-fixin' to kill me. Bow down your head and cry, poor boy, bow down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love, bow down your head and cry. I met her in Venezuela. with a basket on her head. And if she loved others, she did not say, but I knew she'd do to pass away the time in Venezuela, to pass away the time in Venezuela. I bought her a silken sash all blue, a silken sash all blue, because I thought that she would do with all the tricks I knew she knew to pass away the time in Venezuela, to pass away the time in Venezuela. And when the wind put out to sea, the wind put out to sea, and she was taking leave of me, says I, cheer up, there'll always be sailors ashore with leave in Venezuela, sailors ashore with leave in Venezuela. I've traveled all over this country, prospecting and digging for gold. I've tunneled, hydraulicked, and cradled, and I have been frequently sold. And I have been frequently sold, and I have been frequently sold. I've tunneled, hydraulicked, and cradled, and I have been frequently sold. For each man who got rich by mining, perceiving that hundreds grew poor, I made up my mind to try farming, the only pursuit that was sure, the only pursuit that was sure, the only pursuit that was sure. I made up my mind to try farming, the only pursuit that was sure. So rolling my grub in my blanket, I left all my tools on the ground. I started one morning to shank it for the country they call Puget Sound, for the country they call Puget Sound, for the country they call Puget Sound. I started one morning to shank it for the country they call Puget Sound. Arriving flat broken midwinter, I found it enveloped in fog, and covered all over with timber, thick as hair on the back of a dog, thick as hair on the back of a dog, thick as hair on the back of a dog, and covered all over with timber, thick as hair on the back of a dog. When I looked on the prospects so gloomy, the tears trickled over my face, and I thought that my travels had brought me to the end of the jumping off place, to the end of the jumping off place, to the end of the jumping off place. And I thought that my travels had brought me to the end of the jumping off place. I staked me a claim in the forest and sat myself down to hard toil. For 2 years I chopped and I struggled, but I never got down to the soil. But I never got down to the soil, I never got down to the soil. For 2 years I chopped and I struggled, but I never got down to the soil. I tried to get out of the country, but poverty forced me to stay. Until I became an old settler, then nothing could drive me away. Then nothing could drive me away, then nothing could drive me away. Until I became an old settler, then nothing could drive me away. And now that I'm used to the climate, I think that if man ever found a place to live easy and happy, that Eden is on Puget Sound. That Eden is on Puget Sound. That Eden is on Puget Sound. A place to live easy and happy, that Eden is on Puget Sound. No no longer the slave of ambition. I laugh at the world and its shams as I think of my pleasant condition, surrounded by acres of clams, surrounded by acres of clams, surrounded by acres of clams. As I think of my pleasant condition, surrounded by acres of clams. Every morning at 7 o'clock there were 20 terriers working on the rock, and the boss come along and he says, keep still and come down heavy on the cast iron drill, and drill ye terriers drill, drill ye terriers drill, and you work all day for the sugar in your tea down behind the railway, and drill ye terriers drill, and blast and fire. The boss was a fine man to the ground, and he married a lady 6 foot round. She baked good bread and she baked it well, but she baked it hard as the holes in hell. And drill ye terriers drill, drill ye terriers drill, and you work all day for the sugar in your tea down behind the railway, and drill ye terriers drill, and blast and fire. The new foreman was Gene McCann. By God, it was a blame mean man. Last week a premature blast went off, and a mile in the air went Big Jim Goff. And drill ye terriers drill, drill ye terriers drill, and you work all day for the sugar in your tea down behind the railway, and drill ye terriers drill, and blast and fire. When the next payday came around, Jim Goff $1 short was found. When he asked what for, come this reply: you were docked for the time you was up in the sky. And drill ye terriers drill, drill ye terriers drill, and you work all day for the sugar in your tea down behind the railway, and drill ye terriers drill, and blast and fire. When I was apprenticed in London, I went to see my dear. The candles were all burning, the moon shone bright and clear. I knocked upon her window to ease her of her pain. She rose to let me in, then she barred the door again. I like your well behavior, and this I oft to say: I cannot rest contented, love, whilst you are far away. The roads they are so muddy, we cannot gang about. So roll me in your arms, love, and blow the candles out. Your father and your mother in yonder room do lie, a-hugging one another, so why not you and I, a-hugging one another without a fear or doubt. So roll me in your arms, love, and blow the candles out. And if you prove successful, love, pray name it after me. Keep it neat and kiss it sweet and daff it on your knee. When my 3 years are over, once more I'll gang about. Then I will double my indebtedness by blowing the candles out. Well, you wake up in the morning, hear the ding-dong ring, go marching to the table, see the same damn thing. Well, it's on the table, knife, fork, and the pan. Say anything about it, you're in trouble with the man. Let the midnight special shine its light on you. Let the midnight special shine its ever-loving light on you. Yonder come Miss Rosie, how the world do you know? I can tell her by her apron and the dress she wore. Umbrella on her shoulder, piece of paper in her hand. She's gonna tell the governor, turn loose my man. Let the midnight special shine its light on you. Let the midnight special shine its ever-loving light on you. If you ever go to Houston, boy, you better walk right. You'd better not stagger, and you'd better not fight. The sheriff will arrest you, the judge will send you down. You can bet your bottom dollar, penitentiary bound. Let the midnight special shine its light on you. Let the midnight special shine its ever-loving light on you. I'm going away to leave you, and my time ain't long. The man done called me, and I'm going home. I'll be done all my grieving, hooping, hollering, and crying. I'll be done all my studying, about my great long time. Let the midnight special shine its light on you. Let the midnight special shine its ever-loving light on you.